Craftin' Buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Craftin' coming to you on Saturday, May 31st, literally minutes before midnight, and it'll be June. So it's a little after 11. Looks like it's about 11:13 p.m., 11:12, somewhere around there. Let me get rid of my echo on my other device. So, busy day for us today. I think I mentioned yesterday that we had our granddaughter here, and so it's always an adventure. You know, she's very active. She's 7, and just loves to be busy and do things and play outside and craft and bake and all the things. So, we were working on some bookmark parts for her class. She's got school just this next week and she'll be done. But we're going to do bookmarks so that during the summer, her friends can color in each book as they read it through the summer and hopefully get 24 or more books read over the summer. So we were doing some of that, and sometimes it's a challenge to craft with a 7-year-old, but we got pretty far. So we still have some designer series paper and some other cardstock to cut and some letters and such, and we'll try to get those done tomorrow. We also went to our first festival of the year. It was Festa Italiana up in Milwaukee. So my husband is Italian, so that's where we spent a good part of the day. And this was the first year that they had midway rides for the kids, so you know what we were doing. And they have a really great children's playground up there with just awesome interactive equipment. So anyway, enough of that. We are going to use this, let me get some of my scraps away. Beautiful Gallery designer series paper. I've used this several times now. Lots of gallery type art prints that we'll use. And today I'm using this one that looks like just a country cottage. And we're going to work on making a masculine card. And then hopefully I won't forget to make just a couple of announcements. A quick one right now is this is the last day to take advantage of the join bonus that Stampin' Up! Currently has this year, or this month rather, where you get $165 worth of product for just $99, free shipping, and a whole bunch of perks. So you've got basically like 45 more minutes. Actually, it might go by mountain time, so you might have a little bit more time than that. If you want to join my team, I would love to have you be part of my crafting community. And then there's another announcement later. Hopefully I won't forget about it. So we're going to try to do a little masculine card here because Father's Day is coming. And let me get that out of the way. Father's Day is coming. I have a lot of debris here. So I thought we would make just a little fun fold. So this beautiful gallery paper is 6x6, and what I've done is cut it down a little bit. So let me just kind of take apart my little parts and pieces, and we'll walk you through it. So this is a normal card base. So it's 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4.25. All right, so 8.5, 5.5. I always do 2 of them. I've talked about it before. I always do 2 of them, so I have 2 card bases ready to go. This one I also scored at 2 1/8. I'm pretty sure because that's my half mark. Yep, 2 1/8. So we're creating this little fun fold. All right, so what I did was I scored it. So here's my paper. I scored it for my half, and then I flipped it and I scored it so that my mountain is on the right side. It's not that critical. It's just one of those things that I try to do. And let's just burnish this a little bit. And then what I did was I cut down a 6x6 piece of paper like this. And what I did was I cut 4 inches for the seam that I wanted to be kind of my focal point. All right. So 4 inches, and that left me some other little bits. I think I put them away. All right. So let's say we go like this. And here is our 4-inch piece. So that left me an inch here and an inch here, which won't work for the fun fold that I'm working on. So that's why I went to a second piece of the same design, okay? Because I wanted this to be my centerpiece. So with my second piece then, I cut off just 2 inches by 5 1/4, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So this is, actually it's 1 7/8. So I've got DSP that is 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. I'm pretty positive that's what I just said. Yeah, 5 1/4. Okay. And to me, it looked just a little bit unfinished. So I decided to take additional pieces of the same cardstock, and this is basic beige, so that I can layer this up, and it just gives it more of a matted look, more like an art gallery type piece that's got the matting before you frame it. So this piece is actually 2 inches by 5 3/8. All right. So this would be 5 2/8. I just took it up another eighth. So you've got just a 1/16 of an inch border around that. So let's just start putting some of these pieces together. And I'm going to use my liquid, my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, I think is like the official name. And I don't put it on thick, but I do kind of spread it around because I don't like my corners to flip up. All right, so this piece was 2 by 5 3/8. And we're just going to have the very narrowest of borders around here. If I can get it lined up right. Get it scooched over here a little bit more. That's a nice thing with the liquid glue is you can adjust. And I'm going to put this piece here. So hopefully you saw those measurements, or you can pause and replay it later. All right, so this is going to go here, and we're going to have just a narrow border there as well. So that's probably going to be a little more difficult for you to see just because the color is all the same, right? I contemplated putting like early espresso for that bottom layer, but I decided against it. All right, so that's the front of the card for that part. So on this panel then, I took the next slice of my second piece, all right, because that cuts into this part, because that goes like this. Remember, I only had an inch on each side, so I had to use the second piece. So this again is my 1 7/8. So again, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. All right. And then the same size. So just the same as what those two were. So what I'm going to do is use the opposite side of this. All right. This will give me just a break in the design, because when we open it up, it's going to kind of flow. All right, so this is going to sit on here, and it's kind of going to look like the scene, but we're also going to put our sentiment on the front of here. So you're not even going to see that house basically on the front. But when we open it up, we're going to see that house. All right, So let's go ahead and put these together. Make sure I put the glue on the correct side, the side that I don't want to show, because sometimes I've accidentally glued the wrong side. And again, we're just going to have that smallest bit of a border, basically just a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And I've got that lined up pretty good, it looks like. And then we'll go ahead and put this next piece on. I just like getting rid of loose pieces when I can. And this is really a very simple card. You could do it with any 6x6 paper you like. It doesn't have to be a scenic design. You wouldn't even have to put the layers on how I did. You could just do the fun fold. So scoring it at the 4 1/4 and then 2 1/8 so that you get that. All right. So that's done. And then what I did was I took another piece of the basic beige, and we're going to put this in here so that when I flip it up, I can have my other sentiment in here. Okay. So this piece, I'm going to go ahead and affix to the front of here. So this one is my 4 inches, and it should be 5 1/4. And because I'm having this extra layer, I'm not going to do another matte piece for this one. All right, I'm just going to go ahead. I think what I'll do is I'll put this on first so that I can have that lined up where I want it. Because then when I put this piece down, I can make sure that my pattern aligns across the card. Because I like it to match up as close as I can. Although it's going to a guy, and the guy probably won't matter, you know, won't pay attention, won't notice. But they do like getting cards. At least the ones that I give cards to appreciate them. All right. So this one I'm going to line up, and you probably again are having a difficult time seeing where I'm lining it up across the top, but basically I've got just a 1/16 of an inch kind of all the way around. All right. So yes, this is going to be a little thicker than most of my cards, but I don't think that'll matter. So now we'll go ahead and put some glue here and put this on. And you can see how quick this is really going together. If you've got your pieces already cut out, of course, it goes really fast. And if you've got several to make, if you cut them all at once, you can do kind of an assembly line process. Let's see how that lines up. I think I want that a little higher. Let's see if we can shift it just a little bit. It might have set enough. So that's going to have to be good enough. It's a little bit off, so don't tell anybody. All right. So for my sentiments then, I used, or the sentiment for the front, we could do a couple of things. We could do a belly band, so this would slide off. The problem with that, I fear, is that some guys aren't going to know what they're supposed to do with it. They're just used to opening stuff. So I'm actually just going to affix this to the front. I'm not going to use a belly band. But this would certainly be a fun card to do a belly band. So you would just take like a strip that's about this same width, or height rather, wrap it around your card, and then affix it. Usually I affix mine on the back and make it loose enough that it can slide off, but tight enough that it doesn't fall off. Okay. But I did 3 of these, and I don't really need 3, but what I thought I was going to do is I want this bordered with the early espresso, and I think maybe I will put it down so you can kind of see the cottage. because I think that does maybe add a little something to this. All right. But what I want to do is cut this because I want a border on the top and the bottom. But if I use the next die up, so this is the Nested Essentials dies. If I use the next frame up, I was afraid it was going to be too big for my card. So you can kind of see where it goes over the edge. So even when I cut it, it would be wider than my card at the 4 1/4. So I didn't want to go that big. And this smaller one, excuse me, the smaller one wasn't big enough for the sentiment that I wanted to use. So I'm using this You're the Best from the Tags of Thanks. All right. And this is one, I don't know if you can see the line in here, but I had cut this apart for one of my cards because I wanted those words on different lines. So I'm just piecing them together to get the sentiment on one piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these out of our way. And let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment in Early Espresso. Now I did put a little bit of Versamark on here because I have found that with my photopolymer stamps, if I put just a little bit of Versamark on there, because it's a slow drying clear ink, it helps my other inks pick up and stick better, I guess. Now I'm just barely laying that against the ink, and you can see how nicely that's pulling up the ink. I don't squish it, and a lot of times I will take my ink pad and I'll tap it like this. So either way, whatever works for you. And we're just going to go ahead and put that hopefully in the center. And I usually hold it for a few seconds so the ink can soak into my cardstock or paper. And look at that, gorgeous. All right, so that's all. No, I think we'll do another sentiment for the inside, of course. So this one then, I'm just going to slice this kind of down the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be kind of in the middle. All right. And then what we'll do is we'll stick it to the back of this piece, okay? So I think what I'm going to do is get rid of my Stampin' Pierce mat. And then we'll put some glue on this edge. And some glue on this edge. And then I'm just going to lay this where I want it to be. And I just want basically the perforated edges of that piece to show as another row. So hopefully you can see these dies put a perforation around the entire edge. Okay. And then we'll do the same to this other side. Just enough to have the perforation showing. All right. And that side is typically not going to show because if they just open the card, it's just going to go like this and it'll sit like that. But I cut this other piece so that I could conceal the back. And I think I'm still going to do that because it's going to a guy and they might open it like this. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this. And I'm doing it so that the perforated edges are not the side that I'm doing the glue. So the pretty side is what I'm going to have out, even though it might not be seen. All right, so we're just going to put this on here just to conceal my seam. Oops, there we go. All right. Now there's just the itty bittiest of the early espresso showing there. So we'll just try to snip some of that off. I probably should have tried to do that before I put my glue on, but I hadn't really noticed it. There. All right, that'll work. So then this piece we're going to go ahead and put right on here. All right, and I want the peak and the point at the bottom to be in the middle. So I'm going to do one of these, and I'm going to know that I want to keep all of my glue on that side. All right. That should be good. And then when we close this back up again, we'll put it down just enough so you can tell that there's a building there. All right. And then for this part, it's going to flip up. I am actually going to use a sentiment that came in my May paper pumpkin kit. This is the Mountain Majesties. It is a masculine kit, but it's got this Happy Father's Day, and it says, to a wonderful man, you mean the world to me. So for this one, it says, you're the best. I'm going to put Happy Father's Day on the inside. So if you do not have this particular set, where did it go there? If you don't have this particular set, you could handwrite it on the inside. You could use another sentiment that you have that fits. Obviously, it doesn't have to be something that says Happy Father's Day. So whatever works. Use what you have. Father's Day will be here before you know it. And again, I put that Versamark on there just lightly with the ink, and I can see through there that I should have a pretty good impression. And we're going to put this right here. And then I think what I might want to do, what else do we have in here? There's a bunch of birds. I could put the birds on there, I suppose. Why not? I hadn't thought about it, but they're there. They look kind of cool. Put a few of those on there. And we'll go right on the designer series paper. I'll just kind of make a flock of them. Okay. I'm just looking to see if something would fit there, but I think we're just going to leave well enough alone. We'll put that there. And then I did have like this scrap here, and I think we could put that in there, but I think with this piece here, that's just going to be a little too much. So we're going to stop right there. And I may look for some embellishments to put on here. Lord knows I have a bunch. And I might actually look through some of my old ones. Some of these pearls are too much. I would want something probably flatter or more rustic. I have some old cork ones that I might pull out because I think I have some of those still. Certainly not like, you know, bauble like that or the rhinestones, because I'm looking for a more masculine appearance. So I'm going to go look through my old stash. I might put some cork ones on here or just figure something else to do. So that's what I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoy this fun fold. You could even do it without this pop-up piece if you wanted. It's just a really simple fun fold. So enjoy. I hope inspires you to create something. And the last announcement that I had, I almost forgot. Actually, there's two of them. Starting June 3rd, Stampin' Up! Is offering a sweet deal on sweets in the catalog and online. So if there are some sweets you've had your eye on, but you're not sure that, oh, do I really want the sweet or do I just want a couple of pieces? This might be the good time to do it, because if you buy one at the regular price, your second sweet is 50% off. So that's pretty cool. And then there is also a virtual album retreat that Stampin' Up! Is going to be hosting through a private Facebook group, and then later it'll upload to a private YouTube group. If you like scrapbooking or memory keeping, this might be something you're interested in. So hit me up with any questions you've got for that. So until next time, happy crafting.